Welcome to the Your Entrepreneurship School podcast, or as I like to call it, the Yes Podcast. My name is Bridal Babes. I'm an executive business consultant for women who dream of living wildly and wealthy abroad. The Yes Podcast is for women who are ready to build a business that funds her dream life abroad so she can expand her business, bank account, and brilliance without settling for a life that tames her wildness. The Yes Podcast is sponsored by Bridal Babes Yoga, a Luxe start to your celebration. Ready to elevate your bachelorette or hen-do weekend with something truly unforgettable? My Bridal Babes Yoga experiences are crafted with intention, movement, and connection because you deserve more than just the usual. Immerse yourself in a soulful, joy-filled session designed exclusively for you and your crew. Whether you crave a restorative morning flow, a themed class with playful energy, or a heart-centered practice to set powerful intentions for this next chapter, we'll curate a dreamy experience that feels as radiant and one-of-a-kind as your love story. What to expect? Thoughtfully curated playlist, essential oil-infused head massage, a pause to breathe, move, laugh, and connect with the optional add-ons of tarot card reading, astrology chart reading, and friendship bracelet making. This isn't just a yoga class. It's a radiant start to your weekend, an unforgettable moment of luxurious relaxation and joy before the confetti. Let's make magic for your bridal crew. To book a Bridal Babes yoga class, you can go to brittamarita.com/bridal-babes-yoga or find our link in the show notes. You are one of my dear friends in business, and I would love for you to introduce yourself, share us a little bit about your journey, and then we will dive into today's podcast episode.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. I am so excited for you and this new podcast that you have launched. It's been great content so far, and I can't wait to see how much more is to come. So yes, I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm living in Boston, Massachusetts, and it's been a newer journey for me just in the last 3 years. I am a corporate event planner by trade, and throughout my personal development and healing journey, I morphed into a coach and then became trained as a hypnotherapist. So it's been a fun and interesting journey, and it just goes to show you never know what life will bring you.
Thank you for introducing yourself. And one of the reasons I am having you on the podcast today is because you are like one of my best friends in business, and we are two entrepreneurs who live very much in the real world and like do what we need to do to run our wellness businesses. We have both like worked in the corporate world. We both worked side gigs, like anything to just help financially support us so we can make our dreams happen and get our business to grow. Before we go further into that, I would love to know, because this is the Yes Podcast, what are you saying yes to today?
What I am saying yes to is just being in flow. I know we've had some conversations about this behind the scenes, but sometimes forcing, pushing, that really tough energy can be a really exhausting place, and it's not always the most aligned place to come from. So I'm very much in my moment of being in flow and just releasing right now.
I love that answer. And I feel like I am beginning this journey now of being in flow, of no longer forcing and really like being open to allowing what needs to come through versus like pulling things through that portal to come through. So I am very
Yes,
much.
you are. You already are seeing the results of that.
Well, I would love for us to chat a little bit about, being women entrepreneurs and women wellness business owners. And for those of you who are listening, Alyssa and I met in an online coaching program to grow our businesses. I feel like this was like 2022 when we met, I'm going to say. After the program, we started
2023, I
doing
think. 2 years. I think
2023.
it's
Okay, 2
2 years, right?
years.
Yeah.
And we started doing these like online co-works because Alyssa's in Boston, I was in Portugal, and now I'm in Paris. So we have been doing co-works from across the world. So morning for her, afternoon for me, so we could stay accountable in our business. And what we have, in my opinion, experience in our business is the very real ups and downs of like your first 5 years in business, because Alyssa shared how she is an event planner I teach yoga and I teach business, and I also work side gigs as Alyssa does with her corporate work. And I would love for us to just chat a little bit about the realness of this because I feel like all the time on social media, everyone's like, make six figures, seven figures, and like it's so easy. And it's like you and I work like 24/7. You are also very involved with like your family life, as like I'm very involved with mine. And like we tend to just like share the real world versus like, I just made six figures in my business because that's not exactly the truth. And it's basically not the truth for most entrepreneurs. What people don't know, like, it's not that you can't make six or seven figures. It's not that that's impossible. It's that you're not most likely not going to make all of that from one business income. Like you will work side gigs your first 5 years of business. You will probably be doing some things you don't love. You will be staying up late to get things done on your website and in your business, and also just like sidetracked with personal life things. So I would love your take on this too.
Yeah, I know you and I have had a lot of conversations about this. There's a lot of, I guess, toxic messaging out there that, right, like make your six figures, go all in. If you're not all in on your business, you're not all in on yourself, and just all this rhetoric we hear. And it's just not reality for most people. If you're in a situation that you have an abundance of money in the bank or you're part of a multi income household and you can do that, that's amazing. Good for you. But for the majority of people, that is not the situation. We need incomes, right? We are solopreneurs truly, and we are solo income providers for ourselves. And so, as much as we want to go all in on our businesses, and we still need to pay the bills. We need to keep the lights on. We need to keep a roof over our heads. And that's the reality of it. And I just wish that conversation would be normalized more because I talk with so many other entrepreneurs. And once I start to have these one on one conversations with them, we're all feeling the same way, but nobody wants to talk about it because we're all fed this line of like, you're not good at what you're doing if you're not making six figures overnight and if you're not all in and just committed to this and nothing else. And so everyone's afraid to say, well, no, I have to work side gigs. Or, I mean, I know people that are out there delivering Uber Eats and, like you said, whatever they've got to do to make ends meet is what's happening. And to me, that is the real spirit of an entrepreneur is that you'll do whatever it takes to go after your dream and make it happen. And that might mean doing things you don't like necessarily want to do. Like you said, whether that's certain tasks in your business or working certain jobs to make that dream come true. And so I just wish that conversation was normalized more because I think so many people would feel better about it and would keep going in their entrepreneurial journey if it was normalized to say, it's okay if you're working another job. There's no shame in that. For a lot of years, I didn't want people to know that I was still event planning, right? I'd show up at different networking events and things and just talk about my hypnotherapy business. And that's what I want to lead with. And that's what I'm trying to grow. But I am an event planner and I've been one for 20 years now. And that is what is paying the bills. And a lot of those skills that I learned through that corporate career is what has led me on my entrepreneurial journey and has helped make me a great entrepreneur and to help me learn what I want to do and not do in business and how I want to show up as a leader and how I want to show up as a business owner when I grow a team. And so there's a lot of great things that come from those journeys of working other jobs or being in corporate that I think we should celebrate and honor and be proud of.
Yes, to all of this. I've been teaching yoga for 11 years, and what paid for all of my yoga certifications was nannying in New York City. And even though that is like nowhere close to my dream job, I will always tell the truth and honor that like I worked like a part-time babysitting job so that I could become a yoga teacher and so that like I can travel the world like I am today. And now I'm living in Paris, and even though I'm running my business, I still babysit 2 to 3 times a week, and I haven't done it in like 5 years. But in France, it's much more strict about what you can and can't do as an entrepreneur, what you can and can't do based on citizenship. So it's like sometimes you have to do things to pay the bills. Even when I was living in Chicago and I was teaching like 20 yoga classes a week, I would teach 20 classes a week. And then at 6 p.m., I would go be a hostess at a cocktail lounge that paid my rent so that I could go teach what I love, which was yoga that didn't pay my rent at the time. So I think it's living in that truth and telling those truthful stories. And also, like you said, like acknowledge all of the skills that we learn from these things that we don't love, but that actually help our businesses grow in the long run. And when these like coaches or just like people on social media are like, you have to go all in on your business to make the 6 and 7 figures. Alyssa and I are like the only two people I know who like go all the way in our business. Like, I've never met two more committed people in my life when it comes to their business. And being committed in your business could mean like having to take on a second job so that you can like produce a podcast, so that you can pay for certification, so that you can afford a new laptop to grow an online business. Like, there's so many things that go into building a wellness business, whether it's online or in person, that like just unexpected bills that come up. And it's like there should be no shame around what you need to do in order to make that happen. Like, I always say, like, the definition of financial wellness is like financially helping yourself, no matter what that means. Like, that is so you are well, then you'll be financially well.
Absolutely. And like you said, I just think these conversations need to be normalized and we have to remove the shame from this. To me, being all in on my business is doing what it takes to get done to go after that dream. And it means working late nights and maybe doing event planning during the day and then staying up late to work on my hypnosis business, or working on my hypnosis business and taking clients all day to know I have to do event planning work later, right? Like, I'm willing to make those sacrifices to go after that long-term dream.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like, that's what I do. Like, I help everyone else run their wellness business during the day, and then come 10 p.m., I get to work on my business. And it's like I have accepted that right now, this is where I'm at, and that's okay. So I'm like creating content in the middle of the night while I'm helping everyone else. And it's like, yeah, like that's being an entrepreneur. And it's also like if you're doing what you love, then it's, to me, I don't want to say it's not work, but it's less of a work and more of a passion. And it's like, as long as you, I don't even want to say like, you don't even have to make money right away in your business if you have other things that supplement it. But it's like so that you are constantly working to grow it so that one day it will be financially profitable. Like, my business right now is financially profitable. It's not profitable in a way that's making me 7 figures yet. I hope one day that it will be, and I'm planning for that to happen. And I just live by this mantra that magnificent things take time. I did this when I was in Portugal, when I was, for the love of God, like trying to get a visa over there. And I was running a yoga studio while like running a retreat consultancy and just like killing myself to make it happen. And I think like we also have to stop like you said, like stop, we need to remove the shame. And I think we also need to stop glorifying the grind, because like that is like just as unhealthy in our wellness businesses.
100%. And that's where I think there is this balance, right? Like, we're working hard, we're working day and night. I mean, I know sometimes you'll be sending me messages. I'm like, isn't it like 2 in the morning there? Like, what are you doing awake still? And so it's also finding that for us too, right? Just because we are passionate about it and just because we love it, we can't always keep up that pace either. We have to really take care of ourselves, have the tool, especially as wellness providers. We need to have the tools that we're pushing on everyone else and coaching everyone else with, and make sure that we have those tools for ourselves to really take care of ourselves, to make sure we don't burn out, to make sure we're taking care of our bodies and our minds so we can sustain and keep going. But it's also not about, like you said, that full on grind, always that hustle culture, right? Like, there's ebbs and flows to it. It's taking the breaks. I know we'll remind each other often, like, you need to take a break. You need to take a day for yourself and go do something for ourselves, right? And it's great. This is why having this like accountability partner in business is amazing, because sometimes you need someone to be looking at the outside, from the outside looking in and saying, hey, you know what? You're pushing too hard right now. You need to take a moment for yourself and to just recognize that and know that it is okay. It doesn't mean you're lazy. Again, it doesn't mean you're not all in on your business. It doesn't mean you're not committed or disciplined. Taking those pauses, taking those breaks is part of being a business owner and being a healthy business owner.
I like this makes me light up. I could not agree with this more, because what I have learned is on the days when I take off and the moments when I choose to not work, those are the days that I make the most money in my business. Like, those are the days that like I get really big sales, that people are buying like my bundles or my one-on-ones, and it's like I don't even have to do anything because they're available online. And it's almost always the days when I choose to rest or choose to just not be on my technology, when that source comes in, that abundance comes in. And that's why it's so important to rest in our business. Like, in yoga, we have Shavasana. And if you're skipping Shavasana, like, you are skipping the entire practice. Like, the rest is the most important part. And I think we need to make rest a practice in our businesses. Earlier, though, you mentioned how like it's really important to take care of our bodies and minds. Like, I'm the yoga teacher who is constantly like teaching people how to take care of their bodies, but you're the hypnotherapist. And can you just tell us a little bit, like from a business perspective, how can we take care of our minds through hypnotherapy? Like if we are someone like you and I who work all the time and are really stressed out in our wellness businesses, even though we're wellness practitioners, what are tools that wellness practitioners can even use to come, not even come back into the present moment, but like to calm the nervous system to return to our bodies?
Yeah, so I think it's a great question. So I mean, I think some of the practical things, obviously, meditation practices. I am a huge proponent of nervous system regulation because that is something we can quickly do. I mean, 60 seconds can make a huge difference. I mean, I'll be honest, right before I logged on here, I took 60 seconds to do some breathing exercises to just get myself centered, calm my body. Because again, I was rushing around, getting ready, jumping from one thing to the next. And I was like, okay, now I want to be present. I want to be centered. I want to show up for this conversation. So just taking that 60 seconds to even do some breathing exercises can be huge. For me, nervous system regulation has become a big part of my daily practice. I start my morning with it. And again, it's nothing too intense. Like, I am somebody that can't have this crazy morning routine. I've tried, and it just doesn't align for me. And so for me, again, it's taking just that 2 minutes in the morning to do some kind of nervous system regulation. Again, whether it's some kind of breathing exercises, some kind of, jumping or humping, whatever feels good to me in that morning, what I need to get going. Like if I'm already feeling energized, it's some breathing to calm myself. If I'm feeling a little sluggish, then it's like some jumping and movement to get me going. And again, I'm literally talking like 1 to 2 minutes. Like that's all it takes. And so I just really encourage all of my clients to really incorporate that into their daily routines. And from a
And
mindset standpoint, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and from a mindset standpoint, that's obviously a little bit bigger practice that we have to commit to. But I think it's, again, really important to be aware, as you and I, again, we've had endless conversations about this, how a huge part of the entrepreneurial journey is your mindset. Like your mindset has to be in a good space or you will never get out of the spirals. You will never be able to move forward. And so much of it, it's we all have skills, we all have talents, we all bring things to the table. So do a lot of people. But if you're in this negative mindset or you're in this mindset of like, this is hard, I can't do this, it's clients aren't going to show up for me, whatever negative spirals, we could take for ourselves, when we get into that space, we need to find ways to get out of it because if that's where our mindset is, that flow, that abundance you were just talking about is never going to come to us because we're constantly pushing it away. So, a lot of the work that I do with clients is to understand what are the struggles? I do work with a lot of entrepreneurs in my business. We work a lot around, confidence and imposter syndrome. And really, no matter what I work with my hypnosis clients, I always see it rooted in one of three things. It's our level of self confidence, self worth, and self love, or a combination of the three. So if we're struggling with imposter syndrome, that comes into play. If we're struggling with our confidence level, those are coming into play. So it's really important to understand that in the root cause, right? Where is this imposter syndrome coming from? What happened to you to make you take on these beliefs that you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not capable enough? So it's really important to understand where that's coming from so you can work to reprogram it in the subconscious mind.
And I love how you brought up imposter syndrome because a lot of times online especially, I like see a lot of people who are like in the wellness world who are like kind of like shame people for having imposter syndrome. And I just want to normalize it because everyone experiences it, even like big like CEOs and millionaires and billionaires. Like we have all experienced imposter syndrome and we all experience anxiety. And I really want to normalize the fact that like this is something we feel all the time and something I tell myself is like, I am not my imposter syndrome. I am not my anxiety. I am not my trauma. Like, yes, I might be experiencing a triggering moment. I might be fully like in disbelief that I am a badass. And then it's like, wait a minute, like we're going to pause that thought. We're going to stop that. And like coming back through an exercise, coming back through, like you said, like a 2 minute morning routine. And I'm the same way. Like I'm not a morning person. I don't want to have this like million-hour routine. It's like I'm like I eat breakfast and I do tapping for 2 minutes and like that regulates my nervous system. So when those thoughts come in, I think it's like telling ourselves like we're not alone in experiencing this and like we are not what we're experiencing. These are just thoughts that are passing through.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what's been interesting about this whole imposter syndrome thing? And I've had a lot of conversations with people about this and was recently in this networking event with different mentors. And we had this conversation about imposter syndrome. And just as you were saying, to not own that title, right? To not be like, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Oh, that's why my business is hard, right? Like, don't put that title on yourself. I feel like as my business progresses, I'm actually even pulling away from that because when we continue to label it and name it, it just becomes an identity for us. And so the more we can just release that and again to understand why we're not feeling worthy enough, why we're not feeling confident enough, all these things that fall under that imposter syndrome umbrella, that's really what we care about. We want to know why we're feeling that way so we can change that belief about ourselves. Like, let's stop owning and putting these labels on ourselves that are actually, I think, hindering us in the long run.
Yeah, I feel like they suffocate us. And it's also, I don't think that like there's one way to heal these things. Like for me, everyone's always like, just journal about it. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I need to move my body. Like, I'm a yoga teacher. I just movement is my medicine. So like just know that like there are so many ways to like when you're feeling this way or when those like really suffocating thoughts come through, like maybe you're a tapper, maybe you're someone who likes to go running, maybe you love to write. Like there's just so many ways you're a meditator, like whatever it is. And know that like all of these tools are available for you and that like you don't have to do like what works for someone else because what works for them might not work for you. And it's like you have to listen to your body. You have to know like what is the best thing for your nervous system when these things come up.
Yes, 100%. Again, I know we've had this conversation, especially we know we talked a little bit about morning routines and stuff too, right? Like neither one of us are morning people. We are both Tauruses. We love our comforts, our luxuries. And so for us, like this, like I've never been part of the 5 a.m. club, never will be.
Oh,
And I'm sick of people always telling me, oh, I can't be successful in business because I'm not up at 5 a.m. every day doing my like strict morning routine for an hour. And it's like, that is just crap. Like,
yeah.
stop feeding into it. Like, find what works for you. There are so many tools out there available to us, so many things that we can do. And if you're a 5 a.m. club person, like more power to you, good for you. Like go with it, run with it because that's what works for you, right? I know some people would probably tell us when we're working at like 1 in the morning, like, what are you doing? And it's like, that's when we thrive. That's when our energy is best. We're better late at night, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so embrace who you are as an individual, embrace what your body is telling you, and then take these tools and figure out what works best for you. And as you said, what's working for you in that moment, what your body and mind needs in that moment, because that's always going to change based on, I mean, it could change daily, it could change weekly. It's depending on, what you're feeling and what's coming up for you at that point in time.
I read an article years ago. Maybe it was a book. I can't remember, but I read this where it was like the one of the number one ways to grow your company is to hire people who don't just have like the 5 a.m.ers or who don't just have the 9 to 5ers. It's like you want to hire people who like have different times that they're awake throughout the day. So like hire the morning people, hire the people who have energy in the afternoon, and then hire the night owls because then your company can run 24/7 if you decide to have like some giant company. And that really resonated with me because I'm like, I will never be the 5 a.m. person. Like, if anything, I'll be mean to people at 5 a.m. because I'm just not awake. And then it's like 9 to 5 was like built for like capitalism. And so, like, economies could run. And it's like, that doesn't actually resonate with everyone. And like you and I, we are late night people. Like, I get my most inspiration, I get like all of my energy PM, like 5 p.m. is like, boom, and a bomb goes off with just energy with me, and that's when I get things done. And like I will always bring her up, Taylor Swift. She has written most of her music in the middle of the night. Like she'll just wake up from a dream
Never
and
knew
like
that.
go to the piano and write it. And I'm like, yeah, like because all of our bodies function differently. We all receive in different ways. So it's like you don't have to be what people tell you you have to be. Like you don't I will never get up at 5 a.m. I will never practice yoga at 5 a.m. Like maybe on a good day I'll teach an 8 a.m. yoga class, but like I will be able to speak and there will nothing else will happen in that class. So it's like you really have to follow like the cycles of your own body because once you know the cycles of your own body, that's going to create the flow for your business.
Yeah. And that's what I think people are attracted to, right? You're going to call in the people that are attracted and aligned with you. And so if you are not the 5 a.m. person, you don't want a bunch of 5 a.m. people as clients, right? Like you're not going to connect with you in there. So it's really the more you're true to yourself and who you are, that just opens up the space to call in the people that are more connected with you and want to do more of what you're doing.
Can you provide any advice to someone who might be working either in a 9 to 5 or someone who they really want to open their wellness business, but they have no idea how to balance two types of jobs at once? What would your recommendation be for them?
I mean, I'll be honest, like again, I'm gonna be very blunt here. Like I'm still figuring that out for myself, right? Like I've been in self-employed and as a freelancer in the event world for over 10 years now. And so I've had different businesses throughout. Like I ran a women's networking group, a dinner club, like I've done a few different things as my business has evolved. And, I didn't always have it all figured out. Sometimes I'm still like, okay, what am I doing here? But I am glad that I just stepped forward and did it because for so many years, I wanted to be in business for myself, but I was terrified to do it. And so I just stayed in the corporate grind. I worked really hard for someone else, made somebody else a lot of money. And, I worked in the pharma and biotech world. And so it's very infamous for layoffs and buyouts. So I got laid off and because I was part of companies that were getting bought out 4 times. So I was disposable to a company. When it comes to dollars and cents, I was a name on, a piece of paper. And it was like, we don't need you. There's redundancy or whatever it was. And so after a while, I was like, why do I continue to keep doing this? Why am I showing up for these corporations that don't care anything about me? If anybody's going to take the biggest chance, right, is myself. Like, I'm going to take the chance on myself. And so that is how I made the transition to start doing this work for myself alone. And again, it was a slow transition. It's been a slow build because I, again, had to make sure I could pay the bills. And so I just really encourage, like, just do it. If something is on your heart, if you want to start something, again, you don't have to dive all in and like do all the things. If it's, again, I'll use your business in terms of like yoga, right? Like if becoming a yoga teacher is something you want to do, start that training. Like go enroll in a certification and training course and start there. Don't think about the business. Don't think about, how you're going to execute it all, how you're going to teach. Like, get the certification first. That's what I did with my hypnotherapy stuff. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to get certified. I don't know what I'm going to do with this or how this is going to work, but I at least want to know this tool and I want to have my certification. And then I'll figure out the rest after. So, like, just start, just do. And you don't have to have it all mapped out or figured out. I know I am somebody that's how I operated. Like I said, I'm an event planner was my business, right? Like project management, seeing the whole picture, laying everything out, knowing step by step what's going to happen. So that has been a huge adjustment for me. So if you're someone like that, know that it's okay. Like you have to take the leap and just go for it. And, the net will find you.
It will. I cannot agree with this more. Like, I'm someone who I just started astrology school, and so many people are like, "What are you gonna do with it?" And I'm like, "I'm really just enjoying it right now." And this is like the one thing that like I'm not profiting from that is bringing me joy. And then like once I get the certification, I will figure out the business side of it, or if it's something I even want to do. But I think it's like really taking the time to invest in your joy. And know that like when you invest in your joy, that like everything else will follow. The universe will provide. You will get that business idea in your head and your heart, and like you will know how to plan it out. The right people will come into your life to make it happen. Like I'm telling you, as a business owner, this is how it happens. But like you just have to, I'm going to say you have to go after what you love. Like you have to do what you love. I fully believe it's why we are on this planet. It's why we were put on this earth, like to do what we love and to be love in the world. And if that means taking a hypnotherapy certification, a yoga certification, whatever you want to do, just do it for the love of it and figure everything else out later. And like when the people who ask you, because we're so conditioned to be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to build out of this? And it doesn't mean that like they're not your people. It just means like they are not in that dream state yet because they only think about like the business side of it. And it's like maybe like you're just doing it to see if you love it. And then like once you figure out like you master this skill, that's when you build the business. Like I would not have become a yoga teacher on the first day of my yoga teacher training. Like it took me 10 weeks just to become a yoga teacher and like 2 years of teaching until I even decided if this is what I want to do. And it absolutely is now. But, like, it took me that long, and that's okay because magnificent things take time. And, like, you have to know in your whole being that, like, yes, this is what I wanna do, and if this is what I wanna do, I will do anything to make it happen. Like, I'm someone I will do anything I can to do what I love. Like, I'll do anything I can to live in the place I want to live in, to learn what I want to learn, to teach what I love. And I think that's what being an entrepreneur is. It doesn't mean like, oh, I can like only teach yoga, or I can only teach hypnotherapy. It's like, no, like what other skills outside of that can you profit from so you can continue doing what you love?
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. You said so many things there. And I think, again, it's embracing. I think even on my LinkedIn profile, like I have my headline says a multi passionate entrepreneur because, right, I have multiple passions. I am a human being with multiple interests, and it's okay. Like, let's embrace that. As you said, it's like this what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like be in this box, do this one thing, do it for the next 40 years. And then, retire. It's like, no, like we can do different things. We can have different careers at the same time. And that's okay. Like again, let's normalize these conversations because, sometimes a job might just be that. It might be a job to pay the bills, but it's not your passion. So if you can do that to pay the bills and then be building this passion project on the side, like go for it because that's what life's all about. We want to live and enjoy life. We don't, especially here in the States, right? Like it is all about living to work. And it's like, no, like it can't be that, It's like it's that work to live. Instead, like embrace life, enjoy life. It goes by so fast and you don't want to look back and be like, "Oh, well, I worked really hard. Well, did I enjoy life? Did I, stop and smell the roses, right?" Like that's what's really important. Like take those breaks, be impulsive and just go for it. Because as you said, you never know what's on the other side. And you know what? You might fall, it might fail, and I don't even look at it as a failure. It's just to me, that's just leading you to the next thing. Again, I know since we've known each other, we've both, tried and experimented with different things. And for different reasons, we're like, oh, it doesn't feel good to us, or this doesn't exactly bring me joy. But you have to try it to figure that out. You're never going to know until you try. And I know for both of us, like our businesses are still morphing and they'll continue to morph because as individuals and humans, we're going to continue to grow and morph too. And what might feel aligned for you today might not be like that in a year or two. And again, that's okay. Keep riding the wave.
And it's normal to like, it's normal. Like, I've been teaching for so many years, and like, I used to teach 20 to 25 classes a week, and now I teach 3 to 4 a week, and I'm happier this way. So know that it's like you don't have to go all in or go all out. Like, there is that easy balance in between of like having multiple passions and doing multiple things. Like, you don't, like Alyssa said, like, don't put yourself in that box and don't let others put you in that box. What would you say to people who are like afraid of what their friends or family might think if they decide to like go in on their entrepreneurial journey?
Again, like that's their issue, not yours. Because I've been there, done that. I was very afraid what people were going to say. Like I definitely hid, even when I got my hypnosis certification. I mean, even recently, as you know, like I had just won an award here in Boston for my hypnotherapy practice, and I was like almost like ashamed to put it out there, and wanted to be very careful where I promoted it. And do I want to put my hypnosis business on my LinkedIn profile where my event planning contacts are seeing this information? And then I was like, what do I care what anybody else thinks, right? It's about what I think and what makes me happy. And, it's been interesting. I will say some of the people closest to me have probably been the least supportive, and not in a negative way per se, but maybe not like the huge cheerleader, right? It's been people like you that I've met along my journey that have been the biggest cheerleaders and supporters. So also don't put that expectation on your inner circle that, that they may be your bigger supporters and biggest cheerleaders, because if you're concerned about what they're going to say, it's because they may not understand it. And so it's not that they don't want to support you or don't want to be your cheerleader. Sometimes if they don't understand what you're doing and understand this, or frankly, you might be a mirror they don't want to look in because you're out there doing something that they wish they could be doing. And so I think for people, there's, all different thoughts and dynamics that come into play, but you can't worry about them. And as they say, someone else's opinion of you is not your business. And it's so true. Like, don't spend your time and energy worrying about what other people think. Do you work what works for you and what makes you feel good inside. And again, when you do that, it just opens up so many opportunities, because when I really just owned it and started putting stuff out there and not caring about what anyone else thinks, it like so much more flowed to me. And, even most recently, I was talking with an event planning client of mine, and he was a newer client. He's like, hypnosis? Like, I just saw this. Tell me all about this, right? Like, he was so interested in it because I owned it. And then he's like, let's talk about ways we can collaborate together and what that might look like from this standpoint, right? So I might be planning their event and I might be speaking on the stage, hosting, a mindset workshop for the same event. So you just never know what can come when you just really own it and accept who you are truly inside.
And earlier, you mentioned how you won this award in Boston. Can you tell us what exactly that award is? Because you are my friend, and I just want everyone to know what this award that you won is because it's a huge deal.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, as you've been such a cheerleader about that, you're always reminding me of that. I was nominated and awarded Best Hypnotherapist for 2025 in Boston by the Boston Business Women's Organization. And so that was just a huge honor to me because I am newer in my practice. And I had been nominated the year before, which was wild to me because I was only 1 year into my business at that point. And I was like, this is crazy. But again, because I really felt that I was in alignment, I was loving what I was doing. And I was out there owning it and networking and sharing what I was doing. And people could see that and they could feel that. And they wanted to be a part of that energy. And they wanted to come to my group workshops and they wanted to work together one on one. And that's just how I grew because I was just happy and excited and having fun. Like, wow, I can do this. I'm good at this. And I can help other people. Like, this is really cool. Again, there wasn't like some big master plan around this. It just happened because I was having fun and was really passionate about what I was doing and about sharing it with others.
So, if you are in the New England area and you are interested in hypnotherapy, you want to dip your toes in it, maybe you want to get more experience in it, Alyssa is your girl because she is the number one hypnotherapist in Boston. And
Oh, well,
it is a
thank
big
you.
deal. And I also wanna, like, mention how you shared, like, "Oh, I was only a year in, I was only 2 years in." Like, to me, it's like if you're excellent at what you do, like, the years don't even matter because, like, you are so passionate and you're so present with your clients, and people appreciate that because you could be working with someone like an influencer who's been doing this for years, but, like, also not really because 'cause they're an influencer and, like, waste all this money and time and not get a real human connection versus someone who is, like, incredibly passionate and doing everything they can to make their business flow, and then they meet you and it's like they get something real out of it. It's something that is so deeply connected to their soul and their spirit.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, time doesn't matter, right? You could be in an industry for 1 year, 5 years, or 15 years. And it really comes down to your passion. 'Cause like I said, there's people that have been in the industries for a long time, but they're burnt out, they're tired, they've maybe lost that passion and interest for the work that they're doing. So they may have the experience, but it doesn't mean that they're the right practitioner for you at that point in time, right? Like you said, I had this energy about me, I had this passion and excitement. And so just because I didn't have all these years of experience behind me, I still could deliver results to clients. And again, they were feeding on that passion and excitement that I had because I knew I could deliver results to them, even without all these years of ending practice. And so I think that's really what people become attracted to, right? Like you become attracted to somebody's energy and enthusiasm. If you get on a call with someone and they're just like so flat or just seem uninterested, like who wants to work with someone especially with my kind of work where it's mindset work. I mean, that is the last person you want to work with.
Can you provide, because I'm new to hypnotherapy and maybe people who are listening to this are as well, what are some results people can get? Like if I was really stressed out, like as a business owner, like what would hypnotherapy do for me? Or if I'm someone who's even like overcoming like some kind of like injury and just like wanting to come back to my body, like what are some things I can do for my mindset to just like help regulate my nervous system?
Yeah. So in terms, I get asked all the time, like people don't understand hypnosis. Okay, they have that Hollywood perception of it. They think I'm gonna wave a pocket watch at them, make them bark like a dog, quack like a duck. Like no, that's like Hollywood. That's the movies. That's a stage show. That is not true hypnotherapy. Like that has its place. It is a thing. You can have some fun with it, but it just shows how susceptible people are and how open our minds can be and just how powerful our minds can be to change. Just as much as you can get into these negative spirals and these negative loops, you can get yourself into these positive loops too. So it can really support you in so many ways. I mean, truly, all hypnosis is self hypnosis. And when I work with clients, a lot of what I try to teach them and educate them on is not just working with me and we'll get them results, but how what after our time together, they can continue to use these tools long after our time together. And that's to me is what's really important because of course I want to help that person. I mean, yeah, I'd love to work with people forever, but I want people to feel empowered to have this tool to be able to help themselves because I can't always be there with them, right? So, it's really important, but in terms of how it can help you, I mean, it's truly unending. Again, it can help break these spirals and these loops that we get into ourselves. It can help with changing habits, right? We were just talking a little bit about the 5 a.m. club and whatever. And so, if you're somebody that maybe has a hard time sticking to routines and having some discipline and wants to change your habits for the better, hypnosis is amazing for that because, again, we're going to understand where these patterns come into play and how we need to interrupt the pattern. I mean, I've helped people with their fear of flying, their fear of public speaking. Cell phone addiction has been a huge one that I never thought I would help clients with. But so many people were coming to me addicted to their technology. And they said, like, I want to put my phone down. Or my child keeps saying, hey, mom, you're on your phone too much. And like that was an eye opener for me. So, when people want to create a change around something like that, hypnosis is really powerful for it. And I know you mentioned even about injury. So, I mean, I've helped clients that are dealing with either pain or I worked with one client who had an injury and needed to get herself to a certain place in her rehab so she could have this corrective surgery that she needed. But she had such a mental block that she couldn't get to where she needed to in her recovery because she knew what was coming down the line. Her mind was so focused on the pain that was coming and the process that was coming that she was somehow blocking herself. The physical therapist, the doctors, everyone said there's nothing physically wrong with you. Like this is in your mind. So we did a few sessions together. She was able to fully rehab, get to where she needed to be, have the surgery, and like flew through her recovery and surgery because she was able to release some of those blocks that were holding her back. So our minds are very powerful and they can work against us or they can work for us. So we want to always be trying to have them work for us.
And if you were a business owner like you and I, and like we all have our routines, but what is something that can get you in the mindset of like, hey, like this is my work time, this is my client time, and like this is how I'm gonna stay. I don't want to say positive, but like this is how I'm gonna live in truth as a business owner. What is something that people can do either before work or even during when like for me it's always 3 p.m. when I'm like, oh, I'm suddenly really tired. Like, how can I get that energy back from a hypnotherapist standpoint?
Yeah. So, like, so some of the things we talked about that nervous system regulation, again, getting up and moving your body. I am a huge person. Like, when I'm having that afternoon slump, don't reach for the caffeine. Put on your favorite song, put on some Taylor Swift. I'm a Gaga fan. Like, whatever music moves you, get up and move your body. Just a few minutes, like, put on one of your favorite songs, move your body around your home, get out and take a walk. To me, that is the biggest thing you can do is
Mhm.
to move the body and just get that energy flowing again. And then I know you also mentioned some tapping, some EFT tapping, I think can also be great too. And again, it doesn't have to be this long 20, 30-minute thing. Like you can tap for 60 seconds, but it's just moving that stagnant energy in your body and helping you to get refocused.
I love this, especially like if you are someone who works all the time, which is like who you and I are. And even though like we are people who work in the mind body, like I even need the reminder, like, oh, I need to get up and dance. I need to get up and tap. I need to like do some sun salutations, like to get yourself back in your body. And that is nervous system regulation because you get out of your mind and all this loud chatter so that you can like just come back to your present self and continue doing what you love. I would love to like, chat a little bit about maybe some of like I don't know if stereotypes are the right word, but maybe some of like the things that you and I have had to overcome in our businesses or even in ourselves so that we could be where we're at today because it has been 2 years. And I mean, 2 years ago, we were both like, I'm going to call us baby business owners, where like we were just starting out. We met in a coaching program, like I had said. And I feel like in our coaching program, us two were like ahead of the game when it comes to just like knowing how to do the technology side of business. So that wasn't really something we had to overcome. But like we have really had to overcome financial things. We really had to overcome mindset things. We've also just like had like real life things happen. Like I was going through a very hard visa process in another country and it's like we were both we're continuously there for each other as business owners and like anyone who's listening, like get yourself like a business buddy because they are like the best thing. Like having Alyssa as like my accountability partner has been like the best thing that's ever happened to me in my business versus like investing thousands and thousands of dollars into a coach or like someone who I like met on Instagram. Like get someone who is in the business with you that doesn't have to be your exact business, but like someone who is just in this for the long haul with you so that you can be there for each other and just remind each other like why you are here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. To me, that's been one of the keys for me as I've been growing my business is to find these people that were in the same place, right? We have the same level of motivation, the same kind of drive, and our businesses are at the same place. As you said, we were in this coaching container where some people were kind of newer and they had a lot of questions. And we were like, okay, well, like we already know this. Like we're a few steps ahead. So, like, we really need to be in some kind of program where we're, at this level or whatever it is. And that's going to, again, continue to change. But I think if you could find people that are in that same season that you are and lock arms with them, it's a game changer. Like I said, we started off doing just like some virtual co working sessions where we would just log on to Zoom together and say, okay, what are you working on? This is what I'm working on. And then, help each other out if we needed advice, wanted to run something by each other. And then otherwise, like we just shut our screens off and work. And then we'd come back at the end of the session and be like, all right, what did you get done? Where are you at? And just that accountability to like show up for each other or to send each other a message on WhatsApp to say, okay, like I'm thinking about this. Like, what's your thought on this? And it's just really important to have those people. A couple of years ago, like early on in the pandemic, I connected with Brandon Maxwell, who is a famous fashion designer for people who don't know. He was Lady Gaga's stylist for a lot of years. And I had the chance to connect with him and have some conversations with him. And that was one of the things he shared is how him, Lady Gaga, Nicola, who's another stylist, like all these people that came up in the industry together. And I'm like, wow, you were all so successful. He's like, but we weren't when we started. He said, but we all locked arms and we supported each other and we grew and we lifted together. And he's like, find those people. Find those people that you can lock arms with and lift yourselves together because it is hard to be an entrepreneur and to grow a business. But we're all starting from scratch, but find those people that can really, lock arms with and help you rise together. And I thought that was such great advice when he said that to me. Because again, you think of these people that have hit these pinnacles in their careers and it's like, oh, they must have all just, they all just magically got there, right? No, like they all had to grind it out and work hard too, but they did it together and they grew together.
I always say, I think it's Yoga Girl who said this, like, we don't heal alone, we heal together. And I think
Mhm.
about that in like every aspect of my business. I'm like, no, like, even though like entrepreneurship can be very lonely, like writing the email newsletters, getting the content done, like having the one on one clients. And it's like, where's the community? And it's like, your community are the people who are doing the same grind with you. Your community are the people who are pulling those all nighters sometimes while working a full time job, who understand the realness of it, like who might not have come from like a trust fund and like they're not Nepo babies. Like they are real life people who did not start off as Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga. Like they started off in a normal place with a
Yeah.
normal income or no income, and they made it happen. And that's, in my opinion, like where the passion comes in because you can be the smartest person in the room, but it's like it's your passion that is going to drive you on the days when you don't make sales in your business, when all the technology breaks, when you don't even know like what you want to launch next, but it's like you're so in love with what you do. And then you have your community to be like, hey, like you were put on this planet to do this. So like get up and go do it.
Yeah, and it's funny what you just said. It made me think of, about being the smartest person in the room. I remember hearing that advice in the past before too. Like, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like, you need to get in another room where you can learn from people and that people are going to stretch you and push you and force you to grow versus like being that smartest one that everyone else is trying to attain what you're attaining. Like, you want to be the one climbing and growing. And I really resonated with that.
I couldn't agree with that more. I think when I was living in Portugal, I very much felt like I was the smartest person in the room. And I hated that because, it wasn't like an I'm above you thing. It was more just like, there were people who are not at my level there yet. And then I moved to London and like London scared me in every capacity. But like
Mm.
I got myself in rooms where like I knew nothing. And that challenged me and inspired me. Like I'm going back this autumn because I'm like, I want to be in the room with people who have ambition, with people who are going after it, when we're people who are asking questions and learning. And I think that's really important too. Ask questions if you don't know something and like remove the shame around like, oh, I don't know it, but I should know it. Like, no, like ask any question possible, question everything because that's going to lead to growing your business in abundant ways.
Yeah, 100%. And we've all been there, right? Like everyone has had to start from somewhere. So, and I guarantee I've certainly learned this. I remember my hypnosis instructor used to joke with me because she'd be like, no, ask the questions. And I'm like, careful what you say because I have 20 of them now. So it was a kind of like a running joke in the class. But when I was asking the questions, everyone else would be like, oh, I'm so glad you asked that because I had the same question. But everyone was like afraid to bring it up because they just felt like they should have known it. It's like, no, we're in a classroom. Like we're trying to learn. This is the whole point. We don't know what we're talking about. We're here to learn. So, yeah, I'm going to ask the questions. And so chances are, if you ask the question, I guarantee someone else in that room has the same question.
Exactly. And I think it's also beautiful if you're the person who's not afraid to ask, but like if you're the person who's like not afraid to step into your voice and be like, hey, like, I don't know what I'm doing. What is this? And I think it's really humbling to also, as an entrepreneur, to like own in the moments when you don't know what you're doing. Like, there have been so many moments where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to teach myself, whether I learn from someone else, learn from YouTube, whatever. But like, know that like you're not going to have all the answers. And there's beauty in not having all the answers, but there's also beauty and removing the fear and stepping up and asking.
Yes, that is something that I definitely struggled with. Again, coming from a corporate career and just being probably like a recovering perfectionist, right? Like I just always felt like I was supposed to have the answers. Well, how? No, you can't. That like nobody can know everything. Like you have to learn. And so, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just being able to like own that and be okay with it and not have any fear or shame around it is so important.
Do you have any advice for people who like they like feel that fear physically in their body? Like for me, like when I feel fear, like I feel it in my stomach and then it's like everything's over because like I just like I can't even, the voice is closed. Like from a hypnotherapy standpoint, like what can you do like when you find yourself like in those crowded rooms, in those network events, in the classroom where like you're supposed to be the student, but you're just so afraid? What would you do in those moments?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I think just from like a high level is like do it anyway, right? Like do it scared. And there's all these like cliche like statements out there, but it is true because the more you get out of the comfort zone, the better it is. And a lot of times the fear and the buildup we create in our heads is so much worse than actually doing something. I recently was gearing up to take some care of something like on my personal side of my life, and I had like built up all this stress and anxiety about like leading up to it. And I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna be able to do this? Am I capable of doing it? Like all the things, right? And the buildup was so much worse. And then like I got through it and I did it and I was like, oh my gosh, like this was fine. And so a lot of times we like create this fear in our own minds. Like it's not true. And so I think
Yeah.
that's what we have to remember is a lot of time this is just like thoughts in our own head. I know it might be scary, but if you're scared to be in a networking room, again, guarantee somebody else in there doesn't want to be in there either. Try to find that one person. Like, again, people think I'm this huge extrovert, and I'm really not. Like, I don't love going to networking events, but I show up because every time I've at least met somebody that's brought something to my day, even if it's not a long term connection. So, like, show up in the room, find that one person. Or one of the things that I try to do is like, however that networking group, whether it's like a Facebook or whatever, like try to connect with somebody before that event. So you have a friendly
Mm.
face to walk into and to be able to connect with. But it's just really thinking ahead for yourself and creating those tools to make you feel comfortable. That is like the biggest thing from the mindset standpoint is what is going to make you feel comfortable in that moment. Again, whether it's some nervous system regulation before you walk in, having maybe an exit strategy. I mean, I've definitely had to do things like, okay, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to go for 1 hour. And then if I'm still not feeling good, then I'm going to leave. But at least I showed up for that 1 hour. Having an exit strategy for yourself and a plan can always help. And again, like, some meditation, really doing some visualization around the positive outcome that you're looking for. Just like you said, that fear spiral is created because you're creating all these scenarios in your head that aren't there. So let's create scenarios that are positive ones. Like envision yourself with this positive outcome. There's tons and tons. People can go to my website, but also, I mean, you can go to YouTube. There's so many visualizations and meditations available out there to people for free. that you can use as tools too. And those can just be so helpful to help break those negative spirals and loops that we can get into.
Thank you for sharing all of these tips. I feel like I relate to the exit strategy one the most, and I feel like we're both Taurus, and this is such like we're such introverted people, and then we like you said we go out for like a certain amount of time, then it's like okay, it's time to go back home or it's time to go somewhere else. But I love what you said about making that one connection. Like, I firmly believe that, like, if I go to, like, some big event like this, I'm not meant to meet every person in the room, but maybe I'm meant to meet, like, 3 to 5 of them. And, like, those smaller connections, it's the same as, like, it's better to have, like, a small group of people in your circle than, like, a vast circle. And it's because like, business is all about creating connections. Like, sales is literally relationships and connections before the sales happen. So it's like, really make it a goal to like set an intention, whether it's like, I'm going to meet X amount of people, I'm going to leave at this time, I'm going to get one client, I'm going to pitch myself, like create that goal, make it happen. And then it's like, you don't have to stay for the whole time. Like, that's okay. Like, you did what you were there to do and then peace. And that's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I love that. I do. And it's so true. It's about what works for you, but especially when it comes to the networking, I will say 95% of my business comes from word of mouth and networking and from referrals from people that I've not even necessarily worked with, but because I met them somewhere and I said I do hypnotherapy and they're like, "Hey, I thought of you because so and so said this." And I'm like, "Well, thanks so much." There is such value and power in networking and creating genuine connections with people that you just never know what ripple effects that can create later on for your business.
Exactly. Like, and it could even happen, like, it could happen in a week, 2 weeks. For me, it's even happened like a year later. Like, someone remembers me from
Oh, yeah.
something, and I'm like, I don't even remember that, but like, thank you for remembering. But it's so,
It's
like,
true.
I
Yeah.
really agree with that. Yeah. Like the ripple effect, like you said. And it's also just like, maybe the whole reason we're business owners is like not to just make the money and make the sales, but it's to impact lives and it's like to leave a legacy. Like, I love how you said, like, the tools you give people are for them to do on their own after they've connected with you. And I feel the same in my business. Like with my clients, like I teach them how to run their businesses so that they can feel empowered to do it on their own and then they make the money. And it's like if you are doing it just to make the money or just to say I'm a business owner, like maybe ask yourself like why am I really doing this? Like what in me wants to be of service to people? What in me like wants to feel lit up by the work that I do? And I feel like that's the legacy itself.
One. I just recently worked with a repeat client and like, we kinda joke because I was like, "You know what you need to do?" Like, she goes, "I know," but she's like, "You did, you gave me all the tools," but, she was working toward a specific goal, so she wanted to work together again, but she came to it from such an empowered place because of the previous work we had done together, and she knew what she needed to do, and she was able to help herself, but she wanted, again, that extra level of support in that moment, and so it's great to see somebody empowered to be like, "Okay, like, yes, like, I know I need to do these things, but, help me, like, we all kinda need, a little change, we need a little push or a little lift sometimes, and again, that's okay, right? Like, we're gonna have moments, like I said, in our accountability relationship, right? Like, I might be having a stressful day, and I'll be, like, venting to you, and you're helping support me, and then the next day, you might be having a tough day, and then I can be there to support you. It's very much the same, I feel like, in client relationships too, that there's going to be that level of support, and they're going to need different levels of support from you at different times.
Exactly, like, well, I'm learning this so much right now as a business owner, like, as much as I teach people how to run their businesses, I feel like I teach them just how to love themselves and, like, how to know that they're worthy enough to, like, run a business that they love, and I think as business owners, like, we sometimes, like, what we think we're doing in our business is completely different than what we're actually doing, and there's a lot of beauty in that, like, that is what really lights me up, and it's also, like, I think we all experience those butterfly moments of like, "Oh my god, like, that's why I'm here. This is why I do what I do."
Yeah, you said it before. It really comes down to your why. You have to have a strong why as an entrepreneur, and it has to be beyond just making money. There has to be a deeper reason, a deeper calling as to why you're pursuing this business because when it gets hard, that's what you have to lean on is that why.
In your community. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, well, to wrap this episode up, if I wanted to do hypnotherapy with you, whether online or in person, how can I get in touch with you? Where can I find you?
Yeah. So thank you for asking. So you can find me on Instagram, the Alyssa or you can go to my website, which is ATOZ, it's for A to Z Hypnotherapy, so A to Z hypnosis.com. And yes, I love to talk about this stuff. I love to talk about hypnotherapy, so feel free to reach out to me on Instagram if you just have questions. And as I mentioned earlier, if you go to my website, I actually have some free hypnosis downloads that people can check out. And one specifically on self-love. And I also have another one for your money mindset. So two very important topics that we've talked about over and over again today that I think are so important for entrepreneurs. Um, yeah, and if people are interested in working together and learning more about hypnotherapy, I do work virtually. So if you're not local to the Boston area, that's okay. Hypnosis is just as effective virtually. I sometimes even argue maybe even a little more effective than in person. But I can work with anyone, anywhere in the world. So if it's something of interest, please feel free to reach out.
We'll put all of this in the show notes as well. That way, people can get the links to your website, the downloads, and how to get in touch with you. And thank you for taking the time out of your schedule and your business to just chat today. I love our friendship. I love our business partnership as well. And I'm just so grateful that you're here today. So thank you.
Right back at you. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I feel like we've always joked, like all these conversations we have, like they should be out there if people could be a fly on the wall. So I feel like people got to be a fly on the wall with us today, which is fun. And
You're so
congratulations
welcome
to
to be
you.
on. Well, thank you for coming today. And yeah, everyone who's listening, you can get all of Alyssa's details in the show notes on how to connect with her, whether you are wanting to work together online or you're in the Boston area, or maybe you just want to listen to this to get some real life entrepreneurial advice. Then this is the podcast for you. If you are a women-run business and want to be featured as a commercial on the Yes podcast, then send an email to Brytta@BryttaMareta.com or check the show notes to get the details. Thank you for listening to the Your Entrepreneurship School podcast. If funding your life abroad sounds like something you want to do, then check out the show notes to find out ways we can work together. If you feel called to leave a review, then you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I'll see you on our next episode where we will expand our business bank accounts in brilliance without settling for a life that tames us, all while saying yes to our wildest dreams.